Welcome to the Pump Rules Podcast, the show where cast and connoisseurs come to talk all things Vanderpump Rules.
Welcome, Jessica and Emily from Real Housewives, Kiki. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having us. This is amazing.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here. And
I've been a big fan of you guys from the start.
Thank you
and by
so
that,
much.
I mean just recently, the rebirth.
And thanks, and we're big fans of yours.
Thank
and we
you.
really appreciate you coming and also bearing such wonderful gifts. So they showed up with not just Skinny Girl wine. I can't remember which type of the wine.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Pinot
matter.
Grigio.
They're all fabulous, right?
Yes,
Pinot Grigio.
Fabellini. They're all Fabellini.
Well, good. I can offer some of that Pinot Grigio to Stassi next week when she's over for the
Perfect.
podcast. Get her take on the Skinny Girl variety. And also a cake from Kathy Wakili's bakery.
Well, we from her recipe book.
Oh, pardon me, from her
Yes.
recipe book. Yes.
We often dabble in the Housewives
Culinary
kitchens.
arts. Yeah. Well, it was delicious. And
very good.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I'm quite a sweets fan. And speaking of sweet, wasn't this episode sweet?
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't it nice to see a change in tone?
Yes, it was nice to see them come together 3 days before their wedding. I really appreciated that.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
Right on script. No, it's funny because we were talking before about the episode that you just had where you interviewed Katie.
Oh, right.
Really kind of turned it all around for me, like, because I really saw a side of her that I hadn't seen on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before I then saw the episode where we saw Tequila Tom in drag being just a tornado of terror. And then the ending that we just saw here with the two of them finally kind of coming together and Katie honestly saying that she's going to put it all behind her and move
Yeah.
on to this next chapter, which I truly believe.
Yes.
That it's a new feeling that I have for Tom Cat.
Oh, I'm so
it's
happy
also-
to hear
yeah,
that.
because it's a combination of that, of Katie being on here and this, the New Orleans trip where I'm like, Tom really is always the good dad. He's always good time
Right.
Tom.
Yeah.
And Katie always has to be like, hey, dude, we have to like focus here for a second. And so then she always has to be the bad guy. I don't know what came first, if it was her picking on him, like
Right.
the little back and forth sides. But like midway through this season, I was like, this is unbearable.
Right.
So when they did kind of a clean slate club this past episode, I'm much more optimistic about their chances.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense because it was really kind of a hell ride for a lot of
Yeah.
the season. They only showed the grimmest parts.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And just every conversation just ended with either someone criticizing Katie or Katie getting mad about something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't much of the lightness.
But
No.
that's why this show is so good. It really is the best reality show out there because
It
it's
is.
honestly this group of honest to God friends and
Right.
all the drama that they've had their whole lives, and we get to watch it. And they're kind of like in our age group ish, so
Right.
it like feels very relatable
Absolutely.
to me. And so seeing their ups and downs and finally them kind of maturing into this real couple just gives me hope, you know?
Aw.
Especially in these trying times.
That's
So-
right. This trying political climate. It's nice to have.
Do you think any of them voted for Trump?
I'm pretty sure none of them did.
Oh, well, that's
yeah.
good.
And actually, it was great. There was a party here, and one of the neighbors was very vocal. This is like a month before the election. Was very vocal about how pro-Trump he was, and
Oh, no.
Sandoval just like laid into him for about 30 minutes.
Wow.
Nice.
But in a nice Sandoval kind of way. Like he was like, dude, okay, I get it. Like you
Trying
think
to
like he'd be cool to like have a beer with, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And the other guy, he never changed his opinion, but he at least thankfully shut up at the party because it was like, oh great, here
Wrong,
we
like
go.
totally wrong place. And
Yeah.
God, it must be hard to be a Trump supporter in LA. I have to say.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
Well, those are just the kind of politics I need to run my new restaurant, Tom Sandoval.
Oh yeah, can we talk about that? That this was, what was it, a couple episodes ago, where Lisa kind of teased
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
that maybe she was going to open a new restaurant and maybe she would have Tom Sandoval be a junior partner.
Isn't that exciting?
That was very exciting because one of the questions I often ask about Vanderpump Rules is, what can they possibly do after this?
Yes.
Because none of them seem to have been able to escape SUR. They all have to go back and still work there.
Well, we remember we wanted the Toms to come out with brose.
Brose.
Oh,
That was
brose.
our pitch.
That's good.
Yeah, like a
Oh, that's
sangria
good.
brose. Yeah. But this makes perfect sense.
Doesn't it?
Yes. And I love that Lisa would think of him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not Peter or Richardson.
It does show a certain level of thinking that reminds you that you're like Lisa's very canny and is seeing all the moves well before. It also makes you think, oh, did they have this in mind back when she was like, I don't want to go into a sex shop? Like, was that in mind then? And they were just sort of like sitting on it?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, he's such a great worker and just such a good bartender. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
And he is responsible. Like
Yeah.
I want to believe that he is probably one of the only people that always shows up for his shifts, is probably never late, always gets a cover if he can't come in.
But let's not forget, they will probably do a spin-off series there.
Yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. One would hope.
He is very charismatic in that way.
That's right.
I was kind of wondering if, or hoping that they would do a spin-off with Pump, because I would watch that as well.
Yeah, I would watch anything to do with in the Vanderpump Empire. I feel as long as they kept the general concept of the show, which is basically a documentary-ish style. I realize why I'm saying that now. I listened to your episode with the story producer, and I can't remember the name.
Tia.
With Tia, yeah, and I was happy to hear that stuff about how much footage they shoot, because I kind of know that they do it like that, and I know it's real, but it's nice to hear how it worked on the other end, where they would pour through hours and hours of footage.
Oh my God, I want that job.
Wouldn't it be great to just to borrow that footage for a while, I think, is one of you put it. She said the ratio is something like 10 hours of shot footage to 1 minute of screen time.
Oh my God.
Which is that's the true essence of a documentary. There's just a lot of stuff that's sitting around somewhere.
I'm looking forward to the Ken spinoff of crying in corners at animal shelters.
Crying in corners over puppies.
I'm Ken Todd. I'm going to go cry in the corner. Come join me.
Somebody knocked the spark out of me.
These are my dogs.
These are my dogs, darling.
Somebody give me back my spark.
I think I have to. I've been thinking about doing an ad for like an album of like Ken Todd sings like, and it's just like, don't disrespect my wife. It'd be like Anthony Newley songs.
Diana, she's the manageress.
My manageress, don't disrespect my manageress. Also with Sandoval, he's such a detail-oriented person.
Yeah.
Right? Because he put together
just look
the
at his
whole...
outfits.
Exactly, yeah. I just saw that they went to Kyle Chan's birthday party, which was an Emerald City themed thing. And he, in his Instagram, said that he put it together in 45 minutes. But of course, it had like LED lights in the jacket. So it's a lot of disparate elements that work together.
Speaking of Instagram, I saw, or maybe it was on Twitter, but this new opening of Vanderpump Pets.
Yes.
I saw a picture of Tom Sandoval.
Yeah.
And
short hair.
He has cut his hair.
That's right.
It's like Samson. This is huge.
So what is your favorite Sandoval hair look?
I love season 1, like just a little sort of Bob's Big Boy flip kind of thing. That's what I like. Yeah.
How about
I'm
you?
current. It's very Friday Night Lights. Yeah, I like it.
Me too.
Yeah.
The Clea Duvall look.
Yeah.
Like the extensions.
Wait, so you're...
No, I'm sorry. The current, like
the very
today,
current, like the most recent, like
today, like Kyle Chandler, nice, like tight, ready to go in. Coach.
So I'm season 1. You're current. You're
Instagram.
like this current
I'm
season.
5.
Well, what do you like?
For me, well, I really appreciated the bold approach last season when he did the extensions and everything, which was a Coachella look that he just kept on. He actually asked me once, he said, do you think, he's like, I'm trying to, he goes, this sounds really stupid, but I'm trying to figure out what to do with my hair. And I was like, it's not stupid. Because it really isn't. I mean, like, we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what my favorite is. I think, because he had a spiky look for a while, right? Yeah, I think probably...
Like sharing a flat iron with Kristen look?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The classic bathroom sharing.
Like your anything that says flexible hold is bullshit, babe.
That was pretty good. I don't know if I have a favorite, actually. I'm going to say the most recent one. Because
Wait, Instagram recent?
Prior to that, the Coachella adjacent look. Just because it's not a look that anyone else could really pull off.
True.
And he had multiple versions of it. He had the braid. He had the braid guy.
Oh yeah, he did the inverted mohawk too with it.
That's right.
It's like very Erica
No
Jane.
more braid designer now.
I know.
Oh, I know. That guy's out of a job. He's still got Ariana, although she seems to be over braids lately. Because remember the first couple seasons, she was known for braids.
Yeah, that was her thing. Then there was the hangover braid. There was the troll footage. So we were talking earlier about how great the troll footage is. What was the recent troll footage that... everyone was saying Katie
you kept telling Schwartz, you kept giving him an ultimatum.
Right.
She's like, no, I didn't. Yeah. Cut to 400 clips of said ultimatum.
With Lisa saying, you've got to give him an ultimatum.
And then Katie O'Malley is like, this dish is made with cabbage and ultimatums.
This drink is like, I don't know what's in it.
Fruitier.
Fruitier ultimatums. That's right. That was the one thing lacking in this episode, right? There's no Katie O'Malley, and we're all starved for her now.
Starving.
She's the new Christina Kelly. Yeah.
That's a big insult to Christina.
Yeah, it is. You know how I love her, but
I was like, who is this basic hostess who looks like she's wearing a wig?
the confusion was great, but she really seemed like to act like she really acted natural, right? Yeah. Lisa, I'm here early.
So the camera's here. Oh my God, let me put her on the spot. And she's sweating bullets. She doesn't know what to do.
It's weird. I'm mic'd up. Hey, Lisa.
Oh, a fruitier drink. I could imitate her all day, actually. She's really fascinating. I kind of would like a little web series.
I'm actually going to start a whole podcast just about Katie O'Malley.
I hope she comes on next season.
O'Malley Rules podcast. Well, we still have time this season to maybe dig deep with her.
This segment brought to you by Just Get a Buzz. Don't get wasted. The brand new cocktail recipe collection from lifestyle queen Sheena Shea. With a bold new approach to moderation, Just Get a Buzz, Don't Get Wasted gives you the inside scoop on satisfying those cravings with bold new flavors that'll keep you raving. Highlights include The Honeymoon is Over, a bold new take on the classic old-fashioned. 1 part Fireball, 2 parts Capri Sun, and an ample dash of regret. Served room temperature. This cocktail blurs the edges and calms the nerves. And that's just one of the many revelations awaiting you in Just Get a Buzz. Don't get wasted. Available now at all participating Smart and Final locations.
That's why I watch these shows, like for the schadenfreude of it all. Like because I remember I used to watch Judge Judy when I was little because I loved seeing people on camera who are clearly lying, who are clearly awful people, and I loved seeing them like get yelled at and have their comeuppance, and I felt some sort of justice from it. And that's how I feel about these Bravo shows, especially because of the Bravo trolling, especially for those moments where it's like, Lisa Rinna, like you're saying all this stuff, like you're pretending that you don't remember saying that Kim is near death,
and meanwhile they pull 20 clips as you're talking,
which was from like 2 weeks prior.
Yes.
And my favorite thing about Lisa Rinna's whole dance around that is that she said, I didn't say that. I don't think I said that. And then she goes, well, listen, if I did say that, I said it out of a caring place.
That's right. It was coming from a good place.
I couldn't even say it, but I did.
I couldn't have. I didn't.
Cared.
The one thing you can never say that you can never say on a reality show on Bravo, never say I didn't say that, because
exactly.
you probably did.
More than likely you did, and they have it on multiple angles.
Because there's camera.
And lots of cameras.
And that's like Pump Rules this whole season. Maybe, I don't remember. It could have happened.
It's like anything Jax has ever said. Like, I can't believe that he has the gall to deny anything ever.
And then, can you trust him when he tells a story about someone else?
Yes.
Yeah, you said it was like Mr. Robot.
Oh, yeah, he's the unreliable narrator.
Exactly. Watching the shows and watching people's behavior, it's a little bit like the Stern Show, too, because the Stern Show is really a repository for behavior.
Right.
Every guest is kind of, well, most of the recurring guests, it's all just about their life, and he's interested to find out how they live their life.
Yeah, it's a back office politics.
Yeah.
It's the whack pack.
Right.
It's everybody just like the absurdity of their normal situations.
Right. And the back office politics is actually one of my favorte aspects of the
I
entire
love
show.
when there's not a guest on the Stern Show,
Yeah,
because
me
that
too.
means everybody is going to get called in and he is going to make their life miserable. I mean,
hours and hours. Yeah.
I don't listen to how
I've tried to talk to her how to listen to a professional broadcast.
Well, you know,
greatest broadcaster in our lifetime.
with all the
I
Bravo
believe that.
plus that, I mean, that's a heady mix.
But but Jessica will listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I listen to.
I love murder podcasts.
Oh.
Like
you're a
Sword
murder-
and Scale.
You're a murder fan like Stassi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a lot like Stassi. I always say, like, oh, I really wish, like, I want to be Ariana, but I'm really like a little bit of like Stassi and Kristen, and that's.
I will argue
That's a good
with
thing.
you on that.
Well, I'm a mix of all three. It's like, instead of saying like I'm a Samantha, I'm a Miranda, I'm a little bit of a Kristen Doty.
I think, like, quietly you think you're Stassi, but you're very Ariana.
Thank
and kind of
you.
Lala.
Okay, all right, I'll take it.
But like, definitely, like, I have never seen you storm into a restaurant, demand goat cheese balls, punch Jacks in the nuts. Like, I mean, like, you're not that extroverted. And Stassi's pretty.
Do you like brunch?
I don't.
No.
See, you don't even like breakfast.
I don't like breakfast.
Oh yeah. What about wine?
Nope.
Well, there you go. So
Yeah.
No shopping?
And I don't like horses. I don't know.
know-
I'm like nobody.
You were
No,
more
you're-
like Nick, her little brother.
Oh, Nikolai? Or what is it?
Dr. Nikolai.
Yeah. Dr. Nikolai.
Kidding. Can you guys get him on the show?
We're hoping.
That's the dream.
He needs his own like show on Sirius.
I know he does. His advice show. I
Yeah.
would listen to that.
He was on the reunion.
He has a little bow tie on. There's a picture we saw of him in shorts.
Nikolai
Yeah.
Van Sant. He's a little Ianla Van Sant.
Is he dressed like a little like British street urchin? Because that's if I ever had kids, I would want to dress them like Victorian ghosts.
Yeah.
Like
See,
they're
now you're
haunting
tilting
your
back
house.
into the Stassi.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
in the Stassi realm. Yeah. She's a big horror nerd. We were talking about her dating because of the blind date. And I think she needs to date like a video game designer or some kind of equivalent nerd who's way into what they do, does well,
Yes.
has their own life.
Yes.
And because I think that's the problem when she's with that guy David, who seemed perfectly pleasant.
Yeah.
While she was a little harsh in her assessment of him,
He's not really a man.
yeah, right.
I'm
No,
like,
I
that's
think
awful.
you're totally right because she could date someone that is probably pretty introverted in the video game world and
Yes.
is probably very successful in their own right.
Right.
And then the two of them, because she's so extroverted, she could pull him in and they could do like the Comic-Con circuits. And they could
Emily's
be
a
like,
producer. Stassi, call her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I feel bad saying this because I also just kind of got out of a long like
Oh, here we
laborious
fucking go, guys.
relationship.
Guys,
I
I'm
know
really
this-
sorry
okay,
about
let's-
this.
No, but
Would you like some more Fireball?
yes, please. Oh, James Kennedy. Oh, I wish I could make that noise that he made when he slobbered. He's like, oh, like an
I
elephant.
was like, whoa. Whoa.
That was more than a highlight. That was two highlights.
I will.
Yeah.
I will refill
But-
our fireball.
Thank you.
Sir, shot glasses.
But I have to say, I think that Patrick was like a good match
Really?
for Stassi
Really?
because it was exactly what you're describing. It's a guy
Uh-huh.
who's successful.
Right.
He does something that's kind of not in Stassi's world, although it is.
Sure.
Well, she's got this podcast.
Kind of is now, but
yeah,
because the podcast, and I
Yeah.
think he helped her set that up. I
Yeah.
mean, just the technical
the
aspect of
realm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was not into the show, which is key.
Yeah.
He's not into like the spotlight celebrity, and I think he kind of gave her something to be. I don't know, like I want to be more like this guy. Like I
Like
respect.
an aspirational
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. And also, again, you said the respect because he had his life together.
Yeah.
He had it all together. Although I'm always suspicious of someone who is technically in show business because he's in broadcasting. I know some broadcasters don't like to think of themselves as in the same trough as reality shows.
Yeah.
My take on it is there was a bit of an attitude about the whole thing, and
Oh,
that's just
was there?
that's just a guess.
A judgment.
They said, well, he didn't want to have to confront Jax or something.
Yeah, that seems strange.
That seems strange to me too, because I always pictured him as being too confident to care.
I just feel like a guy who's not insecure would be okay with it.
Yeah.
And also just go on your girlfriend's show. Like, just
I
go
wonder
have dinner
if
or
the
something.
Jax thing was a cover up for the fact that he wasn't into the show and she just didn't want to say that. I would be more into someone who isn't
Yeah.
into like the dumb things that I do.
I think it'd be better if it's like, I would not want to be, I choose not to be on the show, but then the attitude that like, oh, that's frivolous,
Yeah.
I think is insulting to your partner who, this is their thing.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a difference between like I don't really want
Yeah.
that for myself
Mhm.
and kind of shitting on something or not even
Because-
turning up for a dinner.
Yeah. You did say he kind of is in show business, whether
Right.
he wants to think so or not. So he is not technically that above it.
That's the thing.
No.
I always think that anyone in any form of show business is really not that far away from anyone else.
Yes,
Right.
and I'm not. I'm over the whole thing. Like I'm an actor sometimes, and
She
I'm-
just booked Buffalo Wild Wings commercial.
Thank
Oh,
you.
congratulations. That's
Please,
great.
no, you guys sit down, please. Okay.
No. We're
we're
still
going to Buffalo
we're going
Wild
around
Wings.
the apartment one time. Yeah.
Okay, don't lift me up on a chair. This is just too much. But I'm over the whole thing where like actors look down on reality TV.
Oh yeah.
Because it can exist alongside, like Amy Adams
Mhm.
is not losing any sleep over Vanderpump Rules, but the two can exist.
Yeah, and anyone who is shading that stuff, they've got other issues to deal with.
Yeah.
I think there's like a bitterness. It's like when people goof on people who make music for commercials or something. Like it's an amazing job.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
that
what I
was
mean?
the
Like,
job that Uncle Jesse and Joey had on Full House. How dare you belittle that job? They supported an entire house.
And wasn't that his job on 2.5 Men? What? That's like
that's right.
Blossom's dad was also.
Was Blossom's dad a jingle
Yes.
guy?
I think that was like.
I don't remember Blossom.
Which I remember because my last name's Russo, so in
Oh,
fourth
yeah,
grade,
yeah.
everyone would be like, Blossom Russo.
You didn't have quite the fondness for the show that other people
Yeah,
did?
I did
That's
watch it all
interesting.
the-
I
I did
feel
watch
like
all the time.
sitcom dads are either jingle writers or animators.
And their wives are always dead.
What the hell was that? There's some noise upstairs. Anytime that there's noise now, we just like to
Was that the
pretend.
mystery guest? Like on
That-
Watch What
that's
Happens?
right.
Anytime
Get
the pipe
ready.
breaks.
James comes hoverboarding in.
I heard there's fireball, darling.
I could smell it.
Sandoval. I'm sad.
Thomas.
Won't you take a Honda Civic selfie?
It is remarkable that of all the people that were able to turn a new leaf with him, it was Sandoval.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be that cool with a guy that did all
Sandoval
that
Punched you in the face.
stuff. Yeah.
we need to think for a second all the shit that has happened to Sandoval.
Yeah.
And yet to this day he is still friends. He's even cool with Kristen at
Yes.
this point. I mean, that speaks volumes for him.
He has the biggest heart. Yeah, he has a big heart.
He's the biggest heart. But although I did notice that for a couple episodes, he was seeming to get a little too hot and bothered about Tom and Katie's relationship.
Oh my gosh, she was
Yeah.
crying more than Katie.
But that's because of the big heart thing again. Like he gets so wrapped up in the cause of someone else's.
Yeah, like remember when the
issues.
Orlando thing happened and he's give his
That's
tearful
right.
speech.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very sweet.
One thing we forgot to mention on the show is I remember, in addition to Katie getting a lot of heat for everything else on the season, her and Kristen did a fundraiser online, like a GoFundMe.
Oh, they did?
So they raised a bunch of money. I can't remember the number. It was close to 10 grand or something for the victims. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'll
cool.
put that out
Nice,
there.
because there was a bit of controversy
Yeah,
about some people going and some people not.
that's right.
Oh, going to work that day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Lala didn't.
who went to SIR that day? Emily
We
and
went to
I.
work that day.
Oh,
Jess
really?
and I went to
we
work that
showed
day.
up to SIR that day. No, but
We did.
and we walked right in. It was not busy.
No,
And
remember
they were filming
there
and
was an
everything.
armed guard there?
There was. I don't fault them for doing that, of course. But I am also a waitress,
Uh-huh.
and I work with a lot of younger people who will take any excuse
right.
to not come to work.
Yeah.
There's one girl who is a sweetheart who I
Just
love.
give her last name.
Okay, and her social security number is, but she if there's bleach or something, she'll be like, "Oh, I have a headache. I have to go home." I'm like, "Oh my God, you've got to get over this. I don't know how you're going to survive the world."
Yeah.
So I did have a little bit of server resentment.
Well,
It's
let's
like,
not
please
forget,
just show
though,
up.
that morning there were threats in West Hollywood
There
of
were.
another attack. So I did get
Legit threats, and
Yeah.
also we didn't show up until way later
when we found
the
out it was
coast
all
clear.
good. I will say we showed up for the 4:00 shift.
Also, earlier you mentioned your feelings on being a comedian.
Oh yeah, because I had a moment where you remember the day on the beach, like it was yesterday, when Ariana kind of went in on Kristen and took it very personally that Kristen decided just that she could do comedy. And it's
Right.
funny because I was like, "Oh, but Ariana, I feel that way about you sometimes." So there's kind of like a tier. Everybody
Yeah.
feels that way about somebody else.
Sure,
Because I
yeah.
totally got what she was saying about Kristen.
Right.
But I have to say, there is something about people there are a lot of people in this town who are just like, well, I'm just going to, we were talking about how they're just like, well, I could do that. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
And come to your show,
yeah. I'm
see
like,
how you
I
do
could
it.
do
and then
that.
just try to do a shitty knockoff.
Uh-huh. But I have to say, there is something to that sort of, I won't call it ignorance, but that sort of ignorant bravery. Kristen got up there and did that show and was great because
Yeah.
she has no sort of, because when you get deep into comedy with its own politics and stuff, you
Right.
can get super insecure and judgmental of
Sure.
yourself. She didn't have any of that because she's not in that clique.
I've often wondered that about Ariana because I think it's probably hard for her to be Ariana from Vanderpump Rules and then still
pursue acting.
Yeah, well, pursue comedy
Yeah.
because I think like, I mean, does she go up at all? I know she did the diary show.
Oh, yeah,
Lindsay's diary show.
And I've seen her, like, she's done legit TV and stuff and
Yeah.
college humor videos and stuff.
But
So
I think
she's-
if she wants to do like live stuff, I think she totally could. I just wonder if she is less naive than Kristen, and then she's like, I don't know, people are gonna judge me.
I think she is. She's actually more into the legit comedy scene, and so therefore has that sort of self-judgment and judgment and so what's the word when you like hold something dear. I've lost
locket.
all my words.
A locket.
A locket's good.
A locket.
Locket anxiety.
Yeah, see, so weed is legal in LA, and with that, I've lost so many words.
Do you have a favorite
just
strain?
hold something dear. No, I'm like a vape person, so I
Okay,
like my favorite is the Kingpen train wreck.
Oh, that's good. That's a great name for it.
Mm-hmm. And it does just that.
It's much, it tells you what's going on. It's good. One time at a party, when we just moved here, we had to hit off a joint, like one tiny hit, and the guy goes, "Enjoy it, it's cripple."
Oh,
And it was.
I know you
It
learn
was
the
not
hard
good.
way. Like I always ask, like, what strain is this? What is this called?
well, what did
to
it
me?
do?
He never walked again.
I'm sitting now,
We
right?
sat down and like literally couldn't talk to anybody at this party, and we didn't know anybody either. So we left and wore off, and I came back. We both came back,
I couldn't follow any conversation, and then that makes me flip out.
and
Yeah.
nobody was that friendly. So I was like, this really sucks.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a weed to sleep person.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if I do it at any other time, I can't form thoughts.
And I'm kind of like a weed to Jessica person. I just watch her smoke it.
This segment brought to you by Cool, Calm, and Collected, the inspiring new collection of uplifting yet confusing spiritual and sexual affirmations from the Queen of Serene, Kristen Doty. Namaste, the Doty Way, with Cool, Calm, and Collected. Act now and receive a complimentary bottle of your choice of Copperidge Sauvignon Blanc or Footsteps Chardonnay. Cool, Calm, and Collected. Available now at participating Circus Liquors.
This beach day was a different kind of revelatory beach day, though. It was sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
No one was dropping any bombs. No, I still
No one
remember.
was enabling their husband.
Oh, there was a tampon joke, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
God.
Oh gosh, that's right. I wonder if that was on purpose.
Oh God.
I bet not. That's the kind of magic of that group. Is that
Yeah.
these things will
Accidental
just-
jokes.
Yes, exactly. The conceptual continuity that is completely accidental.
That I still
Um,
remember the beach day that will forever live in infamy is when Tom comes like walking over the horizon, Tom Sandoval,
Yes.
and they to talk to Jax about whether or not he actually cheated with Kristen. That moment just is beach day for me.
You're right. That is the ultimate beach day.
That is Scary Island for Vanderpump Rules.
Yes, for those in the know of that's New York. That's Real Housewives of New York.
Mhm.
Oh,
There's a
what's-
scary island. Do you know? Have you heard
Oh.
of Kelly Ben Simone?
I have heard of.
She's
Again,
the
with
Kristen
New York.
Doty of New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Or was.
or was.
She never made it back after Scary Island. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Like she
okay.
finishes the season, but she's like she's got one wheel left out of 4. She pulls into that reunion
Bad
and
things happen
she's
at the beach.
Retired.
Is she the one who fell asleep during the reunion?
No, that's Ramona.
Oh, okay. All right. I'd like to know what you're on to fall asleep at a reunion. That's amazing. I don't think it was weed tea.
Lots of Lisa Rinna Xanax.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what was weird, or not weird? It was interesting that on this episode, Doty calls out the Adderall.
Yeah, she's very frank about all that
Yeah.
stuff. She had little ABCs of dating, like A is for Adderall. That does a lot for me.
Condoms, Plan B.
B is you're a bitch. Be a bitch to him. He'll love it.
You'll see.
By the way, David, blind date David,
Blind date
I'm
David,
single
yeah.
now. Please call me because I will not be like that to you.
Oh, Jessica.
I mean, I will.
Well, I'm sure you'll enjoy his nonsense of humor.
Oh.
You usually immediately vibe with somebody, and if you don't right away, I mean,
True.
obviously you're both awkward because you're dating. But if there's no like, you don't get my jokes, my sarcasm is not there, then it's just dead in the water.
Yeah.
Is it the most important thing when you're starting to date someone?
Humor?
Sense of humor?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Because so Jessica, earlier you said when we were watching it that you'll sort of be in the normal conversation zone, and then just drop a couple
like
dark
super
things.
dark things
Yeah.
to see what their eyes do. And if they get really wide and they start looking at their phone, I know that it's not for them.
I know they're looking up chapels.
How about you, Emily?
Well, it reminds me of one of my favorite. There's a great Sherry O'Terry quote where she's like, guys always say they want a sense of humor, but in a girl, but really what they want is someone to laugh at their jokes and shake their tits while they're doing it.
That's funny.
But that is kind of what I think about when I think about first dates, and like a sense of humor is so important. And I often am like, is it though, bro? Is that really what you want?
You mentioned the drinking. A lot of people have sort of been clutching their pearls at the level of drinking on the New Orleans trip. And I think that they're just, well, and also I just think that it's more common than anyone lets on, like that kind of stuff, especially on a trip like that.
Yeah, like going to see the alligators was fine, but I don't need to see a bunch of those day trips. I want to see everybody shit-faced.
Right. That was a good compromise. Shit-faced and alligators.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we didn't see the full weird murder tour that Stassi arranged for the bachelorette party because nobody was having that. And Kristen was just making shitty jokes the whole time.
Well, they must have been a cheater.
Yeah. Everyone's like, shh, we can't hear the guy.
Well, she is a comedian. I didn't think they were drinking any more than normal. Well, actually, I thought they were drinking an appropriate amount for like a fun vacation bachelor party,
right? I agree.
Well, that's the culture of New Orleans. It's like, I have a drink, I have a to-go drink from the to-go window. I'm taking my drink to the other bar across the street because I can. Like, it just...
Yeah.
It honestly looked super fun.
It's
and
fun.
I don't usually say that about a lot of because I'm not much of a partier, but coming in and just like ripping everything off, throwing it on the ground on the hotel room, and it's just like shit is piling up all over, and they're just jumping on beds and rolling around. It looked fun.
But they don't, like Housewives always, when they have the trips, they always plan too many activities.
Right.
And then the blowout happens at night. Or like the real drama happens like at night towards the end, split it over 2 episodes
because they're
on your cell phones.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
No one slept in day drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they get right into it on Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
It's like they're not messing around with like, oh, we're taking a tour of the Love Bridge.
Right. Right. But also jeers Vanderpump Rules for not having a parade in New Orleans. Anyone can get a parade pass. You can all like just have a parade.
Oh.
So they should have done that. I would have liked
That
them
would
to
have
do
been
a
good.
parade.
Well, you can just start a parade?
Yeah, you get a pass.
Oh, I didn't know this.
You can get a band, and then you can just have a parade.
You're like, it's all about me.
Yeah, a Sandoval parade.
You can play his little baby trumpet.
Also on the beach, I was happy to see that Sandoval admitted, unless we already talked about this, I'm starting to have weird deja vu / PTSD from seeing the episodes so
You
many
watch
times.
too many of these over and over
I
again.
do. So Sandoval admits that he sometimes has overstepped his boundaries with Tom and Katie.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, which was good. I was glad he did because he
That was
clearly
nice.
is doing it out of love, but still.
Very Lisa Rinna of him to
own it.
realize that it's on tape and I better own it.
At least he never denied it. He just sort of voluntarily says,
Yeah.
I realized that there was a lot of coming to terms with things in this
Yeah.
episode.
I will say, like, I'm always confused. Like, would Tom and Katie have disclosed that to the group? Their talk with Lisa Vanderpump had the cameras not been there, or do you think?
I think so.
You think they would have told them anyway?
I think so, yeah. Maybe in a different setting and maybe in different pairings. But because, you have to reveal all at the beach. But
Right, that is true.
When they went to Villa Rosa and they surprised her.
That guy, that guy at the door, won Best Actor in 1974.
Are you
Academy
serious?
Awards. Yes.
again,
I thought you were joking when you said
I
that.
am joking.
Oh,
I am
shut
joking.
up.
damn.
I was like,
Okay,
how did you
but
get
that
his
was really
name?
good. 1974 in particular was a really
It's like
great.
this very deep IMDb search.
That's amazing.
Good afternoon.
I was in a Hal Ashby film, but yeah.
Actor for hire. But I liked that Tom and Katie on the beach, and Schwartz said, "Let's not be assholes anymore," and they made some jokes. But then also Katie in the confessional talking about how what happened was horrible, but that kind of looking about how they blew up in front of their friends, about how it'll help them make some resolutions, and that it's embarrassing, and they don't want to act that way anymore. So
Yeah.
even though it was terrible, that can help people kind of see the future, move forward.
Right, right.
They did hit the rock bottom, and as they said, the both of them said at certain points they had to burn it down to rebuild it. After all of this eruption, they have the discussion about him feeling bad. Basically, the discussion that I think that she really needed or wanted. it happened in a very sort of simple,
organic way.
Exactly. And it's funny how sometimes you can build up these discussions in your head that you don't want to talk about them because they're so freaky, or you're afraid of maybe losing the person or hurting their feelings or whatever it is. And it gets to the point where you're like, you're like screaming in drag at 4 a.m. and then telling Kristen Doute's boyfriend about what it's like, quote unquote, slut, bitch, whore, whatever.
Oh my God.
She is. And really, in the end, it's just this
all
simple.
you needed was a quick chat over to-go food.
Right, exactly. A real quick one. And I thought it was so adorable when they were like, oh, maybe we can get abs together. And Katie was like, are we going to get abs? And she looked at the pasta. No, we're not.
Oh, my God.
How relatable is it when he said, all I want to do is order takeout and watch Pauly Shore movies with you?
Right.
I mean, everyone has their actor. Pauly Shore's not mine.
Yeah,
But,
right. I want that for myself.
Oh.
Speaking of best moments in reality TV,
Yeah.
that moment a couple episodes ago where Tom Sandoval in full drag is saying he's a battered wife, and he kicks the door open to this just beautiful shot of Schwartz either like was sitting on the toilet or the tub.
He's sitting on the toilet.
And just kind of like this look of like, oh God, this reality shit. Like that's what's going through his head.
That's got to be a GIF at this point.
I
we
hope
need
so.
to make that like tonight.
That's the best thing I've ever seen on TV ever.
The camera work on the show is so good.
Yes.
They were right on that.
Bravo
here's
to Bravo.
Bravo to
Indeed.
Bravo. Now, I'm always curious when they do something like that. Evolution goes down and films it, or do they just freelance local?
A local hire.
I'm pretty sure that Evolution sends the team because
They know them.
they know them so well that they
Right.
know how to like capture them. And also they have field producers there that are unbelievable when you're around them. You'll see them just like shoot off into it. They'll hear some conversation going on. Immediately they're into their walkie-talkie. A camera appears behind someone. Like it's really like that. It's incredible. And there's one Aaron Foy. I think we talked about it in either maybe the episode that's not
with
up yet.
Jax. And,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Aaron's incredible, and Jeremiah, they're all great. Like you can see them, they're really on the job. They're like watching the whole scene, and they're like, okay, over there, go. And you'll see crews pop up and disappear.
And now a reading from Ask Stassi.
Hey Stassi, what's your secret to day drinking? I just turned 21 in June. Every time I attempt to day drink at parties or just with friends, I just get super tired and boring. Like I'll literally go take a nap. How do I stay awake and fun? Do I do Red Bull? I usually don't get sleepy at night. Is it just the sun? Help! Yours, Callie.
Dear Callie, first of all, happy birthday. Just so you know, my advice on this topic is bad advice. But you asked, so here we go. You know NoDoz? Like the caffeine pills that Jesse Spano freaked out on during Saved by the Bell? Anyway, you can get them at any drugstore, and they will totally give you energy to hang during the day. The alternative is having 1 billion shots of espresso, but that kind of rips my stomach apart, so if I were you and I knew I'd be day drinking, I would take like half a caffeine pill before. And yes, you only need a half. Successful day drinking also depends on what you're drinking. Here's a tip. Don't drink wine during the day because it makes you fall asleep no matter what. So, what should you drink then? Truthfully, I go through phases of favorite day drinks. These phases have included Bloody Marys, margaritas, beer, but if you want to stay responsible when drinking during the day, I'd say choose any tequila-based cocktail, because tequila won't make you sleepy. Shaking my head. It's terrible advice. I'm sorry. Have fun, Callie. XX Stassi.
And we don't really have guests very often. I mean, we'd love to have you guys. We just haven't.
Yeah, we'd love
to. We were having guests for a while, and then we just were kind of like liking the dynamic with the three of us.
Right.
Because one of the things that we wanted to try and do was have people on the show that weren't necessarily fans and assign them an episode, like the Gilmore Guys.
Yeah.
But if you're not a fan, you just immediately have this pretension. Yeah, you don't get into it.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't understand.
Although
these
my
people.
ex-boyfriend came on the show.
Here
and
we
he
go,
did,
guys. I'm sorry.
Listen,
Jesus Christ.
just got out of a 12 year. So listen,
12 years.
well, off and on. So we assigned him an episode, and he had a very high mind about it, but he couldn't keep the judgment out of his tone.
I understand what you mean. Like, I remember, well, for a long time in Massachusetts, there would be people who we would be watching Beverly Hills, like a new episode, and then some friends came over our friend's place, and they were like, and I just was like, listen, shut up. This is the best show on television.
Right.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking. And I actually would get in kind of arguments. I'd be like, so you don't know what you're talking about, and you've never seen it,
and
but you're going to tell me.
They know that you love the fucking show.
Yeah.
So why are you going to be a dick?
And also, these are the same people who will watch like The Bachelor and pretend that for some reason is not a reality show. Like that one's like a legit one.
It's hard to watch, and I get it if you don't watch The Housewives or Vanderpump, you just see the broad strokes, no pun intended, the broad. But like it's very similar to wrestling. If you're not into professional wrestling and you just casually turn it on, you're like, I don't know, they're just screaming at each other.
Seems fake.
Or everything else, like they're wealthy and superficial.
Yeah, right.
Which they are, and we love it.
Yes, but there's more to it.
Exactly. I remember one person saying, well, I just don't what it was just about watching rich people, and I'm like, not really. There are shows like that, but this is not that.
No.
I mean, specifically Beverly Hills, because
yes, they have money, but their personalities and their dynamic that's interesting.
Also are psychologically damaged, and I love it.
Yeah.
But if you remember, we've talked about this too on our show. If you remember the beginning of the Housewives, it was when Desperate Housewives started on ABC, which was the answer to the re-release of Stepford Wives.
Oh, right.
That's so long ago.
I know. So then so it was Stepford Wives, then Desperate Wives, and then the Real Housewives of the OC.
Actually, Desperate Housewives.
Gates.
That's right. It said Desperate Housewives. Yeah.
And then the Real Housewives of the OC was the first Housewives franchise, and it was to see Behind the Gates.
Well, just like the OC spawned Laguna Beach, and then the Hills, and then the people from the Hills grew up and become Real Housewives.
And then the people who worked on Laguna Beach in the Hills made Vanderpump Rules. Actually, on the episode with the story producer, with Tia, I found out that Bill Langworthy worked at NPR for a while. And his rule was that if it's not real, then we don't want it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was and that was on your show. So I was happy to hear that, because I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because they do really adhere to this.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Hills got a little fake, but I think it was more the people on it were just refusing to be, were trying to produce themselves.
Yeah, that's a common problem on these shows.
Yeah,
people
not
trying to produce
Vanderpump
themselves.
Though. They are willing to accept
I think that's
Lala.
the alcohol, though. Honestly, I think because they are uninhibited because of alcohol.
Also, because they're all friends with each other, and you can see them forgetting the cameras are there or whatever. You're just having this dynamic. People that did try to produce themselves were like Vale. And I think to a certain degree, Lala. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work out in the end. It just doesn't work out unless you're willing to make the full commitment to fully give of yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't work.
I think the one person that I don't even think she's really, this is a housewife. I don't think that she's Erica Jane.
Yeah.
She seems like she's playing both sides perfectly. Like she's measured, and she like also will give a little bit in terms of disclosing something, but she's so put together,
right?
And I love her
Well,
very
it's
much.
kind of like Lisa Vanderpump in a way.
Yes,
right. She's the closest one to Lisa.
Yes,
in that fashion,
and they get the full picture too.
Yeah,
like they can read people very well.
Right,
they know who are people who are fake or using them.
Yeah,
and they're very strong women.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like maybe that is the quality that you need to have. You have to be able to read the room better than everybody else,
right?
And be very witty.
Yeah,
completely self-aware.
That diffuses every situation for them.
That's totally Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah,
it is, and I think that's why so many people get nuts about her, like Lisa Rinna, and they want to call her the puppet master and all that. No, they're just better at it.
Yeah. She's the alpha, and they're just jealous.
Yeah. Oh God, I can just imagine Lisa Rinna getting upset about another actress on a show just based on how she's been on this, like constantly grabbing her little accomplice and be like, yeah, they're terrible, ranting, to Eileen. I had high hopes for Eileen, actually.
I still do. I think that Eileen has kind of like, for whatever reason, she's like the moral compass kind of. There's an intimidation factor about, I don't think people are necessarily intimidated by her, but she does have a way of pulling people's card that makes them kind of want to act right around her. And they're not necessarily going to take advantage of her. because she will be like, "Hey, we have to have a talk, A, B, and C." And I'm
Adderall.
telling you,
That's
yeah.
right. Adderall.
Bitchiness and condoms.
Yeah.
I still remember the moment when I really realized how fake everything was, and it was an episode of The Kardashians or something, and the Kardashians were pretending they were in, I don't know, somewhere in like a swamp, who knows, and they were like pretending to be lost.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden a boat comes up like randomly to rescue them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Do you need help?" I'm like, why do they have mics on? I was like, oh man.
I was gonna guess actually. I was like, let me get. Were they mic'd up? Because really, it's so
Mic'd
easy. Can they
makeup.
just have like a in the distance? But they don't even do that.
Oh, no.
We used to really actually like trying to watch Hogan Knows Best.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that just went way too far off the
Yeah.
cliff in that crazy setup stuff. Like,
Yeah.
my daughter's in the magazine. I'm going to go get every copy of this magazine. And I thought, even at his most sort of brain damaged moment, there's no way he'd think that would be what he did. I want to see the real show with Hulk where he's like driving around calling in drunk to the Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yes. Yes.
That was a classic
I
era.
don't need the family, just him.
Yeah.
No, the
Good with
family
that.
was just an irritating interruption, really.
Oh,
Yeah.
But we always say, like, on our show too, we always talk about, like, we're pretty sure that, like, the people on the reality shows have a lot of control of the edits, whereas Bravo
Yes.
reality shows, I don't think that they have any control.
None.
Except
for maybe the
Vanderpump,
Manzos.
I think Vanderpump, the spin-offs, that's why Lisa
yeah.
is on at least one scene, maybe more.
Sure, right.
Even when like all the kids are somewhere else and she's
That's right.
randomly
But she's like
they-
Queen Elizabeth. Like, she's
Yeah.
untouchable on Vanderpump Rules. And the second
Yeah.
she's on Beverly Hills, they're all like, "You asshole."
She's a manipulator, puppet master. Would you watch a Lisa Rinna spin-off show?
No.
Even a 6-episode,
I
like...
would.
It's Lisa Vanderpump she's the only housewife with a legit spin-off show, except for Candy Burris' ski trip, which was a short-lived
Wow, I didn't even know about that
debacle.
one.
It was just a
what about
mini
Kim
series.
Zolciak?
Kim Zolciak's show is unwatchable.
Yes.
It's because it's so scripted.
Oh, but you think the Candy one is watchable? Is that what you're
Candy
saying?
is watchable. That
Okay.
ski trip was a nightmare.
With her family. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Candy's ski trip. Wow.
I think it was actually called that. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I got to give you a massive, bravo to you for
Thank
for
you.
that, because I didn't know about that one. So I'm always impressed. With
We're
the,
like a Bravo Wikipedia.
I know. It's
so
really impressive. It's really
Thank
impressive.
you. If you have to have a skill, it might as well be that and nothing else. It's really gotten us far.
Well, we felt guilty listening to the most recent episodes of because you talk about Atlanta, and I was like, oh my God, we got to get on. And then,
Shame.
I'm
Shame.
it's deserved. It's
I'm
deserved.
trying my hardest, but after Candy's wedding special,
Oh yeah.
my whole opinion of her changed.
Candy?
And I'm just like, I am not into you anymore.
I've lost a little love for Candy, I have to say. Oh my gosh, everyone's tuned out right now. Oh my God.
Well, you know what we're doing? We're Katie O'Malleying.
Oh my God.
This segment brought to you by Kentucky Muffin, the irresistible late-night snack that'll keep you coming back. Some cravings just can't wait, and it's a special need when the hour is late. Feel the fire. Feed that desire. Satisfy that appetite with a moist mouthful that'll treat you right. Reach under the hood and get into something good. Kentucky Muffin. Vegetarian friendly, all natural. A delightful mouthful that just can't be beat. Salty and sweet. Kentucky Muffin. Kentucky Muffin. Try it today.
If Kristen would go down the list of
On
the,
Eileen.
is she from Kentucky?
Kentucky Muffin.
Oh, do you guys think that actually happened?
I'd like to think yes.
It happens in my fan fiction. So
Perfect.
yeah, that's the thing, Jax. It's so hard to trust him because
Right.
it could really go either way with him.
Right.
This is his season, though. You were saying that earlier.
That's right.
This is his season.
Yeah, he seems to have really embraced the monogamy thing, and he's not really getting a lot of heat on the season.
He's not fucking up.
That's right. He's not fucking up. And also in New Orleans, he was really the voice of reason.
Yes.
Tom, listen, just apologize. Tell her you're sorry,
Yeah.
and like this can go away.
He was a better therapist than Sandoval.
That's true. Well, Dr. Sandoval had some, emotions that were like, commingling with
He's clogged up.
Schwartz's.
And his Jax in drag was adorable, and it speaks volumes for a man who is comfortable enough, because a lot of these guys, especially guys like Jax, kind of teeter on that sort of like, well, I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah.
But no, he was totally down, and that means so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's been on like a full feminist journey this entire season, I think.
That's true. I do think that Brittany, I wish, would go on a bit more of a feminist journey.
Yeah.
Because didn't Ariana have to explain to her what the word feminist meant?
Misogynist. She's like, is that someone who gives massages?
No, that's magnanimous.
Yes.
So wait, do you think Brittany voted for Trump? You said no one, but I wonder.
I'm pretty sure she did not vote for Trump. I know Trump has come up in the room when we've been there, and she made a ugh.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know her mother probably did.
I have a feeling the mom probably did.
And I will say that it's a very sweet relationship. And I have to say, give it up for Brittany, because she has really been like completely open to new experiences.
Yes.
Totally that contradict her religion, that contradict everything she knew
Which
growing
is
up.
saying a lot coming from someone who just literally left her small town and not only moved to a big city, but moved to a big city on television.
Right. With Jax.
Yeah, with Jax.
Yeah.
She was saying when they were walking into the Sir photo shoot, she's like, it's like a rite of passage. Like, this is your second one. First you had Jax steal you something, and then the second one is the Sir photo shoot. Look at you.
And she had the combo package, because then she had to participate in bailing him out.
Oh, yeah. When she first came on, I was just like, oh my God, battered woman syndrome. But she really has been like so impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's really smart too. And I think that people's tendency is to overlook someone's
cute accent.
Yeah.
They put that and they go, oh, well, she's not really. But she's really sharp. And also, I think that she just saves a lot of the battles for behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because
she's a lady.
Yes, exactly.
She's a Southern lady. Every single person on the show, from like top to bottom, it just gushes about how wonderful Brittany is.
That's right. There's not a single person who is like, I don't know. She seems okay, but...
And look no further than Lala for like, you do have a mental hurdle to get through all these people.
Yeah.
And most of the time you don't pass it. Meanwhile, with Brittany, they were all like... Open the doors, let her in.
I think a lot of that too, when people are like, oh, they were so rude to her. I'm like, it's really based on the first impression you get with somebody, and if you think someone's genuine and kind. And all these people who lived in Hollywood for years can spot a fake from a mile away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Lala, you're talking about Lala?
I mean, I really think that whatever was or was not included, if she didn't make a good impression with those people, then there was a distance. And then Lala being mad that she wasn't getting liked is lashing out at people. And so they were correct in not wanting her to be in the circle.
That's one of the many wonderful things about Vanderpump Rules and their genuine relationships is that the fact that they are also genuine. Like each one of them are very genuine and open. So when someone like Lala comes in and tries to put on this front, then they won't have it because it just doesn't fit with because everybody else is real.
Especially a person who wants to reap all the benefits of being on the show where everyone bleeds out, but they don't want to give up anything of themselves.
Yeah, and you can't push random people together and be like, you're going to be friends now.
Right.
That's not how the world works.
I mean, they tried it, and Lala stuck a little bit, but with like Faith and Jesse, even they worked at Sir legitimately, but it's just you can't force it. And I'm glad that Bravo has and was it Evolution?
Yeah.
I'm glad that they figured that out because they made excuses for Stassi and Kristen to stay on, which was 100% the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Because that is the team that works.
Yeah, it's not really, they don't work at the restaurant, really? Do we really care?
Yeah. No.
You're like,
who
who's extra thirsty and who's like...
Because, I mean, Katie O'Malley works at the restaurant, and I don't need to see...
Bravo, don't try it. I see you trying to sneak her in there. The answer is no.
She's been very patient. It's been a year and a half.
Oh.
I love when Lisa said, "Oh, has it been a year and a half?" Because to me, that's a nice way of saying, like, I don't remember you at all, at all. Imagine Jax ordaining your wedding.
There'd be lots of farting. Do you take?
All I could hear is like him with his nasal voice being like, "Love is patient, love is kind."
He had the plaid flannels back as well. I remember him threatening those coming back at a certain point.
I still miss the chunky knit.
Yeah, they look like shit. The Excalibur. I like that Sandoval still has that one that he brought out at the roast. Isn't that great?
Yes.
Have you seen any legitimate modeling photos of any of these people? Because we've seen one, and I'll tell you.
I know we have, but I can't remember.
Okay.
So which ones have you seen?
Well, my friend, Chris Grace, who is in Thrones the Musical, which is currently running at the Hudson
Theater.
Thank you.
Where do people find tickets?
At thronesmusical.com, or you can find us anywhere at Thrones Musical, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
The original Game of Thrones parody.
We say we are the original parody of Game of Thrones. Yes, that's one way to put it.
And plus, I'm saying it too.
Thank
so
you.
And you're
welcome.
saying it, and I just want to say maybe there's another show that came after us that came to our show and took notes. But what I'm talking about is Thrones the musical parody.
Yes, be
That's-
careful. Yeah, Thrones the musical parody. That's
that
the
ran in
original
the
one.
UK from 2015. It's been running in Chicago. You can also see it at the Apollo Theater in Chicago. But Jessica, please,
There
go
was
on.
just an article about it in the LA Times.
Jessica, go on.
So
go
my
on.
friend Chris Grace, who is in the show with us, he was showing me this website where you can get like cheap knockoff stuff from China. And I'm scrolling through pictures of like blouses. And I see Lala.
Oh, yes, that's right. I've heard about. What is this thing called?
Oh God, let me look it up. It's called like Ali something.
Oh yes, I've ordered something from them
Alibaba.
before.
No.
It's like the eBay.
Yeah, it's Alibaba.
AliExpress.
Oh, okay.
I ordered like some. God, I forget what the designer was. Some Japanese company, and they would make like sweatshirts that look like big cat faces on them. But I should have known better. I was like, it's so cheap, and I got it. And it was obviously a knockoff, and it didn't fit me. And I was like, God damn it.
They made it of plastic or something.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of weird shirts, though, so did Sandoval get 2 Tom #1 shirts just to take one off for the second Tom
You have to appreciate his
#1?
theatrics.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was a third Tom.
Yes.
How many shirts did he have?
Well, he had those two, and then he had to get the tank top versions for
Tom
everybody.
Sandoval. Yeah,
It
right.
was pool time.
Yes.
But I loved all those because it's like, what's better than a group of people who can make fun of themselves?
Yes.
Well, I think it gets expensive when you have to make that many T-shirts.
He
Well,
got it from AliExpress.
well, I mean, because the one shirt said Tom #1, he only used it for half a second. I like his commitment to the bit.
Thank you.
Same here. Yeah.
I think that going back to like sense of humor, looking for that in a partner, I think being able to make fun of yourself is super important
Really,
because
really
Yeah.
important.
being obsessed with the housewives as we are,
Sure.
our favorite housewives tend to be those who can make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
And there are very few, very few. Like Erica Jane is one of them.
Sure.
Erica Jane can make fun of herself.
Do you think Kyle can, or she's learned to sort of do an approximation?
Yeah,
of
there's
it?
like a weird impression that some of them will do
Yeah.
of it.
She'll make fun of herself a little, but then
Yeah.
really dig at someone else.
I like
in the
Kyle,
same
but
line.
that's not her strongest
I think
quality.
she's just legitimately insecure, so she actually
Wildly,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
self-deprecating
Yeah.
in some ways.
I do like with Kyle, they goofed on her for not wearing she was wearing like a gown, or not a gown, but a very
A moo-moo.
elevated outfit at the barbecue.
Yes.
And then she just was very frank and said, listen, some days I feel rotten about my body. And if I do, this is what I wear.
yeah,
So
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
off.
right.
Fuck off, the food's over there. Ken and Lisa, they make fun of themselves constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just destroy people when they reading somebody.
Yes.
Like, they're so spot on.
yes.
What was Ken saying about Rinna? It was incredible. He's like, she's a rotten bitch.
Well,
rotten
see, Ken
lying
needs to
bitch.
chill it a little
Well,
bit in
yeah, sure.
2016/17 because, like, this is Trump's America
In these
now.
trying times.
He said that stuff about Yolanda not wearing makeup and how she
yeah.
looked terrible because she didn't care to put on makeup.
I was on the fence on that one because I did think, I really felt that he was saying just like I was the only one who was telling the truth, that she didn't look good, like she didn't look well.
Well, a lot of housewives and house husbands like to disguise being rude as keeping it real.
That's true, and being concerned.
Yeah.
And when you add a
Yeah.
British accent on top of
Yeah.
it, it's
Yeah.
like,
You're-
oh,
you're
that's
distracted.
fun.
It elevates it immediately.
I'm just saying that I don't think I would ever go to therapy. I would consider it weak.
Oh my God, that's
Remember
right.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being like, "Oh, Ken, no, it's not. There's anything wrong with it. It's just I would think I was weak if I did it." So
I just think someone is not as good a person as me if they went to therapy.
it'd be a huge flaw that I could never overlook. But there's nothing wrong with it.
I think the most insulting thing, though, is you're kind of doing a Cockney accent, and
Yeah.
that would really offend
It would
Ken.
really piss. My Ken is usually better than it is today. I don't know what's going on. But sometimes when I like to insult someone too, it's like a way. You don't do
like
their
you're
accent
downgrading
correctly.
him so much economically with the Cockney.
Yeah, Cockney's perfect for James.
It is. Or you do a lockjaw and with Ken, and you're just like, listen, you, because it immediately restricts everything. Listen, you, don't you disrespect my wife. Of course, the greatest scene I think of the whole season was, "I'll knock your spark out." It was incredible, right? And also, how great is it as an aficionado of these shows when there is a shot that's through glass or plastic, and there's one mic pack, and the cameras are just running around trying to capture it.
Yes, because then you know it's real.
Yeah. Unsteady camera work. And it reminds me of course, the classic limo fight in Beverly Hills.
You stole my goddamn house.
Yes.
You're terrible and you're alcoholic. How do you like that?
Oh God, I said it. Now
Have
everybody
you ever
knows it.
The behind the scenes on that is great too. I think my initial feeling with all those like behind the scenes, were like, how much more can we see? But like to actually hear from the producers and hear from the camera people, it's like, holy shit! Why did they cut that out? Like not just what their feedback is, but the things that they say that they filmed but they couldn't show. Like, why can you tell us this now, but you couldn't put it in the show?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
They do adhere, especially evolution shows, to the breaking of the fourth wall is absolutely verboten. And the only time they really did that on Vanderpump Rules is when Lauren, who we saw in this episode, you spotted her at the photo shoot. Good eye.
Yes.
Thank you.
And when she took off her mic pack, they addressed that because otherwise they would have had to cut it out, which would have been lame.
Right.
But I think it's only at those moments that they will do that. On the, I always like to call them forbidden footage, but the secrets revealed. I like that they showed the producer, which makes you realize that like you're like, oh, they just run. The cameras are never stopped.
Yeah.
Which also is nice to have more proof, not that we need it, that none of this stuff is faked.
Right.
You know?
But it seems like Vanderpump Rules, for example, in New Orleans, it felt like the camera crew never left, whereas the Housewives are all like, all right, it's 10 p.m. See you later, girls. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
The producers make heavy use of iPhones late at night.
But not as much on Vanderpump Rules, or maybe not as much in the New Orleans.
Yeah, no, that's right, too. Although Jack said that the peeing and drag shot was possibly an iPhone because they wouldn't let them shoot in the bathrooms.
That was the best scene ever.
Yeah, that was one of the best moments ever.
Best moments of all time of TV.
I love that. Jen.
Jen. They were only in New Orleans for 3 days.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it only 3? I thought the last episode before this was like day 4.
Okay, even if they were there for only 4 days, I mean, the cameras were going the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't even know what time of day it was. You'd have to look at the windows because Schwartz is blackout the entire time.
That's like in horror films.
Yeah.
When they don't, they purposely don't really give you a good layout of the house.
That's right.
So that while you're watching it, you're confused and like
wait, where
totally
are they?
off. Yeah.
It's like in casinos. They don't have clocks or windows because they want you to be completely lost.
We're on to you, evolution.
This segment brought to you by Sheet Girls, the terrifying romantic comedy from the hands of Jax Taylor. Sheet Girls, there's blood on the walls and love in the air tonight. Sheet Girls. Once you go behind that sheet, you'll never be the same. Sheet Girls. Available on Betamax and VHS from Odyssey Video, North Hollywood.
Jessica, I think you mentioned a great thing that James is now a sheet girl.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Because I know they've made some comparisons of, I know it's been said before that James is kind of like a younger Jax.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really think he is shaping up to be that because, I mean, he's a sheet girl. He lives behind a sheet.
Yeah, at Stoner Paul's.
His room divider.
I mean, it's a chic sheet. It's an upgrade from a sheet, but it's one and the same.
Although I wonder if Jax ever had a Zen area. We didn't even get into the surf photo shoot.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
That's
That
important.
pig.
See, that
How
seems
dare you say that about... No, I'm not going to go there.
That
That's
seems
greasy pig.
so anti-Lisa Vanderpump.
the
to
greasy
have-
fake pig.
Yeah.
I agree.
To celebrate that. I mean, I don't care. I'll eat it, but it just seems like she wouldn't want to celebrate
Well,
that.
first of all, the question that I have every single year
Yeah.
is where are these photos? Where are they? And she kind of said something on this episode that made me think that these are like just for her private collection, which is weird. Maybe she's a prevert. But like, why? Please, Lisa, sell us a calendar. We will buy it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we'd all buy a box set of the
I
different
buy
years.
a coffee table book of them.
That's you
yeah.
get 2 different revenue streams right there.
They're in Ken's secret vault, in some private giant closet that we haven't seen yet.
Oh, right over here. Yeah. Oh, now I can get in here. Prince Tardon.
Oh,
Or is it Tardon?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
Royal Grace Prince Tardon. Oh my gosh. That was an interesting moment because it was the first time I'm like, that's weird. Like Ariana and Lisa Vanderpump kind of connect
Right.
in this weird way that I've never anticipated. I never put those two together like that.
I think maybe that gives us a glimpse into how she talks to them, not off camera, but sort of when they're only in little groups of 2.
Yeah.
And also I liked how you see Ariana trying to upsell her on the Bubs. You know, she's
Yeah.
like, no, they're really getting it together because there's been some issues
Yeah.
this season, you know, with Ariana's
Right.
place and the wedding and all that stuff. So it's
Right.
nice to see that.
She's going to bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because Lisa's very perceptive, but she's half the time only really seeing one side of the story.
Look, Lisa smells that baby coming. She needs a new Katie.
Yeah, if Pandy won't give her a grandchild,
Yeah.
the
Well,
Bubs have to.
The Bubs are going to, but then she's going to need, who's going to go to the flower mart with her?
Oh, that's right.
Ariana.
Yeah, well, maybe she's setting it up for when Tom takes over the new restaurant.
yeah.
Ariana will be the new Ken and Todd.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm calling it. Ariana and Tom are the new
Yeah.
Ken and Lisa. Did I say Ken and Todd?
You did. Yeah.
I had some fireball. Well,
you
that's
know,
his
you were,
last name,
you're
right?
excited. That's
I
all.
am
You're like, oh my
excited.
God, they're gonna.
Ken
Yeah.
and Todd from Atlanta.
Well, do you know?
I'll have let's see, a water and a Ken and Todd, and
That has to be a drink on their menu, the Ken and
the
Todd.
Ken and Todd. That's a good
Please make
beverage
that
ad.
so good.
You know,
Actually,
on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, what's her name? Kyle has Lisa in her phone as Lisa Todd. Why does Lisa just have a regular horse and not a unicorn? I feel like if anybody could get a unicorn, it would be Lisa somehow.
well, I don't think we're allowed to see it till next season or the season after. How about Stassi and Kristen's brutally hungover lunch?
That was enjoyable.
Oh, yeah.
It was so great.
Oh my
When
God, that
Kristen
was so
peels the
cute.
sunglasses off and she's like, oh, she can't even. And I love when Stassi says, I want a cocktail, a water, and an iced tea all at once. I think we've all felt that way.
I need all the liquids right now.
Yeah.
And a big thing of fries to absorb everything in your body.
When that guy in the tux showed up with the wedding request,
Yeah.
I was like, because Lisa's like, oh, if you're dressed like that, I have to answer the door. And I was like, Jess, we have to dress like that and go to her house.
Now we know how to get in. Once we make it past the Swans, we're good.
And I like the Swans as a note to end on because Schwartz seemed a little afraid of the Swans.
I know. There was some episode, I don't know if it was that one random uncensored one or if it was just a flashback on something this season, but they did a quick montage of Schwartz's fear of animals.
Oh,
like,
yeah, the horses.
One is the ponies.
Yes.
The tiny ponies.
I mean, and swans are legitimate assholes. I
Yes.
don't
Yeah,
like
they were
swans.
hissing at him.
Yeah.
I
I
would be
mean,
nervous too.
Geese are difficult, but swans are awful.
You know, an
Yeah.
ostrich nearly killed Johnny Cash in like the late 70s. That's why he got hooked on pain pills again.
Yes.
'Cause he had a bad incident with an ostrich.
And Steven Still's first wife was killed by a cat.
Are you serious?
This is on
A
Stern.
cat? Like
Oh
a
my
regular
God.
cat?
Yeah, because she was driving downtown in a small town, and she had the cat in the car,
Oh,
and not in
right.
a cage, and it went under the pedal.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Holy smokes.
So in that pet loving note, is there anything else we wanted to add for this
Any more
episode?
animal deaths?
Yeah, animal deaths. Well, no, we haven't quite seen that happen with Shay and Sheena yet. So
Oh,
No,
shit.
I'm excited.
That foreshadowing last week, I was like,
yes.
oh,
Yes.
fuck.
It's funny how we're going to end with like the union of one couple and the demise of another.
Yes.
I know.
It's very interesting. You can't write this shit, but I want to. I'm
I
available.
know.
But I know I said it before at the top, but like going into now the wedding, because
Yeah.
this whole season I thought, what is this wedding going to be like? Because I cannot see these two together.
right.
But now they've turned it around, and I'm actually excited to see it.
I'm so happy to hear
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because it was trying and difficult, and it was sad to be like, oh no, I know that the wedding was great. What's happening
Yeah.
here?
They're very sweet together, and it's not the fault of like the friend group or the dynamic, but stuff gets all twisted up and shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think.
and also, I mean, everything's fleshed out for the cameras,
Yeah. Alcohol, your worst side comes out.
Yeah,
Filming,
Well,
disaster.
and the pressure of everything too. She did plan the
Right.
wedding in such a short amount of time, and with no help from him.
Right.
One thing we forgot to mention, Sheena and Katie have a little chat during the SUR photo shoot. And I find Sheena to be, I think, exhausting. Because, I mean, I get it. There's different dynamics with different friends, but is it really the bride's responsibility to try to find activities for the bridesmaids?
Oh, right.
When you're doing a million things, you're not thinking like, oh, I need to give this person special attention, because what they need in a relationship is for the other person to be like, I need you, I need you. So it's such a foreign concept for somebody else, because that's not really how relationships work. And so her viewpoint is very skewed and it's not realistic, and it's unfortunate. Like, I feel for her, and I like Sheena a lot, but it's just not how the world works.
Well, in that moment, I was thinking like, Sheena's really going through it right now because Shay doesn't need her anymore because he's not peeled off the floor, Hamtown. And like,
he's got sun poisoning. He's sitting in the corner. He's taking his fucking time out.
And now like she's getting shut out by Stassi and Kristen and Katie. So I mean, like, no one needed her. So I think she was just having like this desperate moment of like, I'm just going to ask you to need me because I need that.
I need to be needed so badly.
Yeah.
She is that. It's kind of, if I can make a comparison to Sandoval and Kristen, and then now Sandoval and Ariana, like just relationship wise, when something works, it works. And so maybe back when Sandoval was with Kristen and it was just constant butting heads and stuff, and now when he's with Ariana and it's just easy, it's the same thing with Sheena and basically anybody.
That's
it's
a really good point.
If you have to ask for attention, then it's the dynamic is not right, and it probably won't be what you want. But you've got this, you have to think about like, would Sheena be asking this question if there wasn't a television show involved? And like this group of friends is clinging to each other so tightly because a lot of it is relevant to the show. You know, like as you get older, you kind of drop certain friends or you move on and you kind of grow out of things. But here you've got like, this is their career. This is their job. And so they kind of have to cling to these relationships even when they feel them naturally pulling away. And that's hard to watch too, because I feel like Sheena really cares about the fame aspect of it. And I think that's why her and Shay got weird, because she wanted the wedding. She wanted the wedding on TV. It maybe came too soon.
Like
now she wants this.
Controlling the she comes across.
So it's hard because it feels like maybe there are some natural friendship deaths, and I don't mean that in a bad way, just kind of the natural end of friendships that can't happen because they're being clung to.
That's a really good point. And also Sheena and what she expects from other people, if she doesn't communicate that, how are they to know?
Yeah, it's just not easy. Like
that's the thing. It's not easy. It's just like it's like, and when she's like, I can never win, and you're like, well, but maybe look at that. You're
working so hard for this,
right?
That should be your first clue that you should back off, and you should back off and trust that they will be there. You have to, because if you're so afraid that if you're not involved that they're going to forget you, then
there's a problem.
He's just not that into you.
And also for someone to say that I just feel like I haven't been included in the bridesmaid stuff. She didn't lift a finger to plan the thing that at the rented house with the Taco Bell tower, and then complained about how much it cost, and then complained to Katie about how much it cost. And
that was all very weird.
I don't think she can deal with really being alone. And like I said, like the way that she sees how relationships are supposed to work are not really how they work. So, and she's a smart person, but I think the frustration is when like, the girls or anybody else in the show, and they're trying to be like, okay, well, this sort of thing really doesn't gel, or this is annoying me. She can't see that it's not that she doesn't admit that she did something wrong. She can't see that she actually did anything wrong with her behaviors. And so then she gets more insecure and freaks out and doesn't understand what that there's an issue.
I know that feeling, because you know that feeling when like a relationship is ending and you get that panic sort of thing where like, it's over and you're starting to like grab and cling.
Right,
and I feel like, she's in that. But you know what? She looks fucking banging.
Mm.
I'll
Yeah,
say that.
absolutely, yeah.
Let's end on a high note.
And she's dating another longtime friend, but he's a trainer and he's cute and they're
Really?
together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good.
Rob something, I can't remember.
Zombie.
Rob, that's right, Rob Zombie.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah, and she's going to star in his new film about a slaughterhouse, and which is great. But no fake pigs because that grosses her
No,
out.
and it's
Ew.
wrong.
I mean,
It's just wrong.
Nobody likes that.
Jessica and Emily, thank you so much for being on this
Thank
episode. It's been such a
you.
treat.
You
This
guys
is
have
so
to come
fun.
to ours for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Yes, and come to Thrones the musical.
Yes,
Yes,
Thrones
yes,
the
yes.
musical, the original Game of Thrones
Yes.
musical
That's the
parody.
only
The only
show
Game
The
of
obsessed
only-
with Game of Thrones.
That's
you
right.
can
The
see
only
it-
show obsessed with thrones of
right
musicals.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
and you
only
can
one.
see the show if you're in Chicago also. It's at the Apollo Theater and
Cool.
at the Hudson Theater in Los Angeles.
Yay. So come hang out with us.
Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pump Rules Pod, or go to pumprulspodcast.com for more information. Email pumprulspodcast@gmail.com and follow on Facebook at facebook.com/pumprulspodcast. Thanks for listening and see you next time.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for you tonight.